What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Panthers advice. Today, man, the season is officially over. Let's turn on the news real quick. Season's officially over. Going on a W, and the Falcons' playoff hopes are what there was, man. Big win. The offense showed you a little something, something at the end. You know, you got Thielen in there, you got Coker, you got XL. You did all that without Chuba Hubbard. Whew. Man, the offense looked good. Let's take a look. Chandler says, what a season for the Panthers, better than last season. They could be a good team next season. Who knows what offseason looks like? And I'm looking forward to next season. Keep pounding. Keep pounding, baby. Yeah. I mean, defensively, I thought we played decent in the first half, but defense going to need some work. But offensively, Bryce Young, once again, 25 for 34. So 9 incomplete passes, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and then rushing. I mean, what? He had 2 touchdowns. Bryce Young, five touchdowns against the Falcons, man. I mean, damn. He lit them up, man. The Grim Reaper was in Atlanta today. Yes, sir. It'll be interesting to see who the Panthers will pick with the 8th pick. I think we talked about that last time. I don't text the move, to be honest. I get why people like him, but I feel like defensively, I just feel like we need a lot of help defensively, to be honest. I feel like we need a lot of help defensively. Miles Sanders went off. 17 for 66. Yeah, I felt like he had a better game, but there was a couple times where you saw him kind of try to make that second move, and he'd end up losing a yard or two, you know. Sanders has potential, but you have to almost – it's such an interesting offense for him to be a part of. I like him, but I don't know if he's going to fit, but we'll see what happens. Man Dog, let's go. Yes, sir. Bryce Young. I hope XL is fully healthy next season. With all the injuries, we don't really know how you would have been without them. Yeah, I mean, you saw him on that screenplay he got where he took it for, 10, 15 yards. They just got to get him – they got to find a way to get him more involved with things he's comfortable with and get his mental ready. You know, when it comes to contested catches, he just struggles at those unless they're high-point balls for only him to go get. Also, hope we re-sign Adam. Adam Thielen, I mean – what he's doing at his age is just insane. You know, he put on this year. He bailed out Andy Dalton a little bit. He bailed out Bryce Young some throws. Andy Dalton is still around until next season. So after that, we'll see what happens. Jalen Coker. Jalen Coker is probably I think Jalen Coker might have been the biggest shocker this season. 7 catches on 7 targets for 62 yards. I mean, let's see, his total stats this year ended up at, what did we end up at? 32 catches on 46 targets, 478 yards, 2 touchdowns. That's pretty good for Coker, considering he didn't play every game. You know, he wasn't always the first option. Still did his thing, to be honest. If Adam retires this year, I don't think he's gonna retire. I mean, he just put on quite a year. I don't think he's gonna retire, to be honest with you. I will be shocked if Adam Thielen retires, because the catches he made today, man, that was. I don't know that we have another receiver who's making catches like that on the team, to be honest with you, other than Deontay Johnson, and we know what happened there. But I mean, Coker was that guy that I thought, you know, somebody else was going to be, but it didn't happen. Is Jalen Coker from North Carolina? It says he's from VA, so I don't know. I don't know about that one. But, I mean, you got to be happy with the team, though, I think. Yeah, black and blue. He's got one more year. And then is when we'll have to figure out what happens. We'll have to figure out what happens next. But I think a lot of teams, let's say the Panthers get off to a, I don't even want to put it out there, but let's say they get off to a rough start next year. Adam Thielen could potentially get traded. Now, let's say the Panthers are in playoff hope. I think Adam Thielen stays, to be honest with you. Cook went to college, and okay, you're talking about college. Okay, my fault. Yeah. He went to Holy Cross. My fault. Let's go. I mean, what do you guys think about the season? You know, the Falcons game, putting up that many points against the Falcons, fighting for playoff hope, and Bryce Young continuing to climb into the pocket, make plays on the run. I mean, he's showing you he's that guy. It took a little bit. A lot of frustration, but man, he came through this year. Let's see. All right, Bryce is our guy, no doubt. I mean, that's kind of my thoughts too. I mean, he seems to at least fit in with Dave's offense or what Dave wants to do, without a doubt, to be honest. Defense, destruction, incoming. Yeah, Panther Gill. I mean, something's got to change defensively. I mean, I know there's injuries and this, and the third, and there was somebody I was going back and forth with a little bit yesterday, but you're talking about, you got to give the defense a break. I don't know that we're going to give anybody a break. So when we put Mingo on the hot seat after 1 year, you put Bryce Young getting benched after 1 year. When you bring in veterans like Clowney and DJ and Ashawn Robinson and Josie Jewell, there's no break, right? To me, there's no break. When you bring in veterans, we expect something from them, and I don't know that we got anything from any of the. If I'm being honest, from any of the veterans, I don't know what we got from them. I thought Ashawn did decent, but Clowney and Josie Jewell. I mean, you talk about injuries to Shaq and Derek Brown, I get it, but even when they were healthy in the first 2 weeks, the Panthers still got smacked. I mean, defensively, they got smacked. Chargers ran all over them. Saints did us dirty. Oh, my. That was disgusting week 1 what the Saints did to us. Then, obviously, Derek Brown goes down after week 2, but, I mean, they win week 3 with Andy Dalton against the Raiders. The Raiders proved to be, 4 games this year? So they weren't much better than the Panthers were. And then lost to the Bengals, lost to the Bears by 26. I mean, defensively, it didn't matter. I don't know that would have mattered. Maybe if Derek Brown stayed healthy, sure, but everybody else, I think they swung and missed defensively on the veterans they brought in. I think stick to bringing in the younger guys. Panther Doc said, I feel like the Falcons gave up after the Bucs won. That put the Falcons out of the playoffs. And they didn't call that timeout at the end of the game, and then they kind of just let us run down and score. I mean, you think it took that little momentum out? I could see that a little bit. But Bryce Young, the plays he made, like to set up the basically running with Miles Sanders on the 2-yard line. I mean, that's something you can't teach, right? So I see what you're saying to a point. Maybe they took their foot off a little bit, but the way Bryce Young was making plays outside of the pocket, climbing into the pocket, was something we've been waiting on. Panther Gal, that's a mess. 100% defensively. Big mess. Kay said, do we declare number 1 receiver in the draft or free agency? I think you do it in this is tough. Because I really want to say free agency. That's what I want to say. Because defensively, I like how they drafted last year, right? When they got Trevor Wallace, when they got Shaw Smith-Wade. Jaden Crumdy was decent, right? Jatavion Sanders. It seems like they have an eye for young talent, young and developing talent. They can develop it, right? So I think that's what they should do for the defense, and then on the offseason, go and get a number 1 receiver who's already established. Let's not wait another year on trying to find number one receiver. Let's go out and just sign a number one guy. Now, who's that going to be? Your guess is as good as mine, to be honest with you. All right, let's see. Barrow needs to be gone. Worst defense in history. Yeah, Lucas, I mean, I'm right there with you. I mean, I feel bad for injuries, but I mean, just I felt like time and time again, just we're getting just destroyed. Let's see. The only time we held an opponent under 20, it looks like, was against the Giants in overtime. That was it. Everybody else got over 20 points on this every single game. Now, part of that's obviously on Navarro, part of that's on the defense. But again, it goes back to you look at all the guys they brought in, right? The whole front seven they brought in, the safeties, the DBs they brought in. And then J.C. Horn was healthy the whole year. And it didn't matter. Nobody showed out defensively. I mean, I don't know. I mean, Mike Williams had a strong year, and then towards the end of the year, Mike Williams, or I don't know, I keep saying that. But J.C. Horn, I think, had the best year defensively, and it wasn't close. You know, it wasn't close. Mike Jackson. I don't know why I keep saying Mike Williams. All right. Riverboat. There's potential. 6 consecutive games along over 200 yards, ridiculous. That's what I'm saying. When I look at the rushing yards allowed and I look at the amount of time quarterbacks have to sit in the pocket, at some point just stack the box. You know, we're already 4-12. Just stack. Show us something. Now, I did see what the Panthers did last week and this week. Last week they put Caleb Farley on Mike Evans just to see what they could get out of him. This week they used Bartholomew against Mike Evans. No, today was Drake London, right? And so Bartholomew got that work a little bit by Drake London, but it's good. He put him out there on an island, see how he did. He bounced back after that, but man, the Panthers were seeing what talent they had with the young guys as far as the DBs in a way. The Deontay trade is hilarious now. I mean, if you go back and look at Bryce's first 2 weeks, right, and I even said it in the video, Bryce was looking at Deontay Johnson when he threw those picks against LA, and I think the Saints too, when he threw interceptions, he was waiting for Deontay Johnson to get open. Andy Dalton, same thing happened. He's waiting for Deontay Johnson to get open. Sure enough, they trade Deontay Johnson, look what happens. You know? Look what happens. Garrett Wilson would be dope. A fast receiver, good route running. I'd like him. Solid to DC. I would like him too, but I don't know what has been said. Tyreek Hill. That'd be a lot of money. D-line is party number 1 in the draft. 200 game on the ground is ridiculous. Yeah, Ron, I'm right there with you. I mean, it's just bad. It's just bad, to be honest. We have Falcons, Bucks. I'm trying to think who the lesson. I mean, I guess they played the Chiefs decent, but every other team, Bucky destroyed us. Saquon, they kind of held in check a little bit. Dallas destroyed us on the ground. I mean, that was bad. Wide receiver free agency too expensive. That's true, but you can't. You need defense. You need defensive help now, right? And let's say, I mean, there's really no excuse for. I mean, the reason you need defensive help now is one, you brought in a lot of veterans, right? So people are making excuses for the defense, saying, they have to rebuild next year. It's hard to say that when you bring in Clowney, when you bring in Ashawn, you bring in Josie Jewell, you bring in Wanham's a little bit younger. I get that. But you bring in those 3 guys alone and say you're going to rebuild the year after, you essentially just threw away all that money, right? So you need young pieces for the defense to eventually build them up. And you got to do that in the draft. So I get what you're saying about free agents, receivers too expensive. You really don't have a choice because there's nothing on this defense. There's no core. You got to get that. You like the money as our starting safety. Like him a lot. I like him as the free safety. I think we need a strong safety, and I wish they would just put Woods at. I wish they would put Woods at strong safety. Watching the safety play this year, right, whether it's coming down on the run or the deep passes allowed, was abysmal. I mean, the Falcons scored late. They scored late because Xavier Woods was just sitting over the top. He never came in. I think they were in a cover 3, cover 4, and essentially just walked right in the end zone. I mean, we gotta figure that out. The safety play has been abysmal, just completely abysmal. What was it? This? No, it wasn't that one. Let me see. Yeah, Drake London. How does Drake London run a post route 21 yards and he's wide open in the end zone? So yeah, I wouldn't mind Damani starting at free safety, bringing Xavier Woods down, but I think we got to get a safety in general. Mike Jackson's a keeper, I think so. Can we fix our defense first? I mean, that's kind of my thoughts. Bryce Young has shown you he can work with what he has and put up points, and then you got Chuba Hubbard, which obviously helps too. So they did this without Chuba Hubbard today. So, I mean, what does that tell you? I think we should re-sign Tremble, Christensen, and Jackson. Tommy showed out a little bit. Tommy's got to be careful trying to hurdle every single time he catches the ball. And I know it's not every time, but he'd be trying to hurdle just to jump, it feels like. Create a little separation running. But Tommy definitely played better in the second half. Christensen played better. And then Mike Jackson, you could tell he's definitely learning. Mike Jackson's definitely learning as he plays. So, do you think we trade up or trade down or just stay in the draft? We have a good amount of picks this year, if I remember right. Yeah, we've got a decent amount. It just depends what they want to go for. I've done some research and who we could potentially target, but it just depends on who's going to be there and kind of how the draft flows for the top 5, top 7 picks. Let's see. Top draft prospects. 2025 NFL. Cade Mays or Corbett. That's tough. I'd have to watch more film before I pick one for sure, to be honest with you. I can't wait for draft rumors. Yeah, draft rumors in Carolina. That'll be interesting. Let's go. Jackson Horn, second ring duo. Yeah, Horn, I mean, props to him. He had a hell of a year. And he somehow stayed healthy. So he somehow stayed healthy. Good for him. I mean, there's a lot of edge guys that looks like, just based off ESPN's, just the draft, best guys left. Mays can definitely play more position on the O-line, I agree. What's going on, Dark? Keep bounding, baby. As far as defensively, you got Abdul Carter, you got Mason Graham. It's like Mikael Williams out of Georgia, Nick Scorton, James Pierce Jr., Jalen Walker. There's a lot of defensive guys, and they think that, 5 of these guys will go in the top 8. So, I mean, if the Panthers are at 8, right, Abdul Carter's probably going to go top 3. Mason Graham's going to go top 3. Then you got Mikael Williams, Nick Scorton, and James Pierce Jr. So it's really going to depend if the Panthers really like any of those guys, or potentially Jalen Walker out of Georgia. And I'll be doing videos on them, so stay tuned for that as always. And according to ESPN, that's really it. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4. I think there's 5. Let me see, hold on one more time. 1, 2. So you got about 6 guys, give or take. About 6 guys on the defensive line, edge rusher type. And ESPN has about 5 of those guys going in the top 8. So it's going to depend who's there when the Panthers want them, right? That's going to be interesting. Abdul Carter, Mason Graham, they're going to go top 3, top 4, maybe top 5, and then you got the other 3 guys too. He said Walker all day. They put Walker at 11, so we'll see what happens there. I mean, if the Panthers really like him, At 11, that seems reasonable. Do you think Hooker can be a true number one receiver? What's going on in Winter Wonderland? I don't know that he's going to be a true number one. Just because I don't know that he's fast enough, to be honest with you. But I think he can play anywhere, right? He can play on the line, he can play off the line, he can play in the slot. I don't think he's going to be that true number one receiver, though. Could he, though? He could. I just don't know that that's his strong suit, to be honest with you. I think he's a perfect number two. I think, to me, he is what kind of they have in Cincy, where he is the T. Higgins. Now the Panthers just need their Jamar Chase. All right, that's kind of my take on that. Mays, Avalon, Christensen turned out to be valuable after all. And even that, Icky, I think, played decent. I mean, Icky, he had rough spots, but he's gotten better. The old line in general has improved as the season has went on. I feel like against Dallas, it took a little bit of a dip, right? But I felt like as the season's gone on, they played better. Coker is strong too. His hands is great. Yeah, Doug, I agree with you there. Coker Steelens replacement. And I think in theory you're right. Adam Thielen's just quick, man. When he's running those routes, he's just quick. And I don't know who is the Panthers. Adam Thielen's still going to play the Y, right? He's still going to play the slot. Coker's not really. He can play the slot, but he's not that yet. If anything, Coker's really just a better David Moore, to be honest with you. I mean, unless I'm mistaken, that's kind of how I feel about Coker. He's just kind of a better David Moore. The Panthers need to find a slot in the next 2 to 3 years who can learn under Adam Thielen. That would be huge. But I feel like the Panthers are missing a true slot after Adam Thielen, right? Right now they have Adam Thielen. And they got to find a number one. Robert Hunt just threw that Tyreek Hill to come to the Panthers. Yeah, I mean, that would be nuts. That would be nuts. He'd go from one Alabama quarterback to another one. Cat frees up off next season. I don't know that Tyreek Hill is going to fix the problems on defense, to be honest with you. I mean, we put up 44 today and won in overtime, right? So as much as it would be nice, against the Cardinals, we had to put up 36. Against the Bucks, man, they gave up 48, but I think they kind of gave up. Cowboys, you allowed 30. Buccaneers, you allowed 26. Chiefs, you allowed 30. We got to fix defense first, to be honest with you. My question is, what defenders in free agency help us change our defense? Well, that's a good question, Odds. My only thing with that is, what's going on, SG? I think they did a great job with the draft, right? Let me pull it up real quick. Panthers draft class. Boom, 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 boom. Pull it up. Let's pull it up. So I think Excel, I think they reached on him a little bit, but there's potential there, obviously. Brooks, potential. Trevin Wallace, they hit. Jatavion Sanders, they hit. Shaw Smith, way look better. Crumdy, I think he was hurt, half the year or so? They got hurt again today. And Michael Barrett, they gave up for Michael Jackson. So, for the most part, they hit. Excel, you took the hometown kid. You kind of know what you're getting yourself into. Brooks is a hard one because I remember when they drafted him, I was like, I don't know. Because he's coming off a torn ACL. You have Miles, you have Raheem, you have Chuba. And everyone was on my head saying Brooks is that guy. And Brooks is that guy, but coming off that ACL tear did scare me, and this is why. Right? So I get why Dave wanted Brooks, because Brooks was Dave's dream guy. He could catch on the backfield, he could run up the gut, he could bounce to the outside. It's going to be interesting to see how they change their philosophy this year. I thought for the most part they hit as far as the draft. Right? Trevin Wallace, Sanders, Shaw Smith, Wade, Crumdy, Michael Barrett, they got Michael Jackson. XL, Brooks. For the most part, they had a pretty good draft. And I guess your question was defenders and free agency. Okay, now we're all right. Back to the question. We look at the defenders they brought in, and that's what scares me a little bit as far as bringing in people defensively, because you brought in Ashawn Robinson, you brought in Jewell, you brought in DJ, you brought in Clowney, you brought in Fuller, you brought in Nick Scott. Other than Ashawn Robinson, I really wasn't impressed with anybody, to be honest with you. I mean, Josie Jewell at times, but the guys we brought in for the defense, they weren't minor guys. They were supposed to be veterans to help this team win, to stop the run, right? Get pressure. And I just don't feel like any of them did anything, if I'm being honest. Dane Jackson was another one. Yep, I see you down there, black and blue. I don't know what we got out of them, to be honest with you. I really don't. Yeah, Josie Jewell's 3-year, $18 million contract, $10 million guaranteed. I guess that's not huge, but I don't know, man. I'm not real thrilled on them bringing in more defense from free agency, to be honest with you. Put that money towards the D. I agree with you. See, that's the problem with the Panthers of the last few years. I feel like that's what they've done is they bring in talent over the fit. You know, that's how I feel anyway. SG, what's going on? Keep pounding. Let's go. Coker's going to be that dude. He is that guy. And the Panthers really don't even have their offense. They're still figuring it out. So once that offense gets set, whew, nasty work. If Vikings win, we move to 7. Interesting. That would definitely be interesting if that's true. I did not know that. Being at safety by a Coker jersey, probably the safest of them all. To be honest with you, I think Coker should be here for the long haul. Keep Miles, give Brooks full year to heal, bring him back 2026. I like it. Dane Jackson. Yeah, I don't know. They put Dane in the slot quite a bit the last few weeks. And they gave Dane Jackson a pretty decent contract, too, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think it was anything crazy, but they gave him a decent contract. 2-year, $8.5 million, so he's going to have next year to kind of prove himself. So that's another thing is they spent a lot of money on the front 7, and then for the secondary, they didn't give anybody anything. So Dane Jackson had a 2-year, $8.5 million. Jordan Fuller contract. What was his contract? He signed a 1-year, $3 million contract, and then, jeez. Nick Scott. Let me see. He signed a 1-year, $1 million contract. So that was my thing with the Panthers is they signed Dane Jackson, 2-year, $8 million. They signed Jordan Fuller to a basic contract. They signed Nick Scott to a basically $2 million contract. They went out and stacked the front 7 and left the defense to crap. So hopefully this year they learn their lesson. I don't know why they did that, to be honest with you. I don't know if they thought J.C. Horn was going to carry the secondary. But, yeah, the secondary, I mean, they spent pennies. And for the front 7, they loaded up. So what about Shaq? Shaq, I thought this was this might be his last year. He might have one more. Let's take a look real quick. Let's take a look. 2024 cap hit. Shaq's a free agent. According to this, Shaq is a free agent this year. So, unrestricted. He signed a 1-year, $3 million contract with the Panthers in 20. So, yeah, Shaq is a free agent. Shaq, he may retire, to be honest with you. If he's going to come back from another injury, he may retire. Yeah, lose Shaw Tuttle. Yeah, I think Shaw had some games, but I wasn't sold on him. Did Fuller do enough to keep their job? I don't know that Fuller did, to be honest with you. I don't know that anybody did on the secondary except for Mike Jackson, Shaw Smith-Wade, and J.C. Horn. Other than that, nobody impressed me defensively. Damani to a point. I don't know what Evero was doing with the safeties. I felt like no matter who we played, we were always getting beat over the top. Every single time. Every single time. Jacoby Windman was better than the guys we paid. And Jacoby, here's the thing about him. He's an undrafted free agent, but his college tape, man, that dude's an athlete. That dude was nice. Shaq is close to retirement. Nobody on the defensive. Nobody. And it's all going to depend on what happens to Evero, right? What's that day where like all the coaches it's like Black Monday or something, isn't it? I think is when like, a lot of firings happen. The first Monday after the regular season. So, if I'm not mistaken, is that going to be tomorrow or is that going to be next week when Black Monday happens? And that'll be interesting. You see, the Patriots fired Gerard Mayo too after one year. Damn. Let's go. They definitely sacrificed the defense to buy O-line. Oh, 1,000%. 1,000%. Devine developing a little bit. He's young though. Had to be done. Agreed. People are sliding over that field. Yep. Tomorrow Black Monday, but Patriots. Okay, so tomorrow's Black Monday. So yeah, I mean, does Evero go Monday? I know Dave is safe, but does Evero go? That's going to be interesting. I don't know. We need Sala. I like Sala. I do like Sala. And, you would think he would have kind of free range on who he's going to bring in defensively, right? So it seems like this is kind of a promising job to a point. The defense has to improve, and you're going to be able to bring in whoever you want to bring in. So, and hats off to Tepper. You didn't hear a word from Tepper after what week? I don't know, what, middle of the season? So, hats off to Tepper. I didn't think he would change, but he did. To be honest with you. Mock draft's definitely coming soon. Definitely coming soon. Stay tuned for that, Mr. Donald Duck. Appreciate you. Bring Riverboat back. I mean, maybe Lucas. There's a lot of options right now. There's a lot of options. It's gonna depend on who Tepper ideally wants, and then probably why am I drawing a blank? Why am I drawing a blank on the GM's name? Why am I drawing a blank? Dan Morgan. Jeez. That depend on him, and I think Dan Morgan too. San Fran said to be looking at us. I could see that. Drew said big win, 100%. Big win. Especially offensively, defensively. Offensively, though, I thought we did good. And they're going to call Sala, and if they can't get him, they might keep EE for one season. Honestly, I feel like EE wants to leave. Mr. Double E wants to leave, to be honest with you. I'll take River. Let Canals pick his own DC. No, I think Dan Morgan's going to end up picking, to be honest with you. Because Dan Morgan, you got to realize, he's probably the one who wanted Trevin Wallace. He's the one who wanted the guys on the defensive side of the ball, trading to get Mike Jackson, to be honest with you. I think Dan Morgan, you gotta trust him. He was a hell of a player. Him and Dave seem to evaluate talent pretty good right now. I think you got to give trust to Dan Morgan. Right about Bryce. Yep. Hoping Tepper lets Stan, Dave, and Brandt make defensive coordinator decisions. I hope as well. Donald Duck said, I'm just saying if Evero gets fired, he'll shine somewhere else. It's the Carolina way. Donald, I watched Evero when he was at Denver, right? This is a completely different defense. Now, I don't know if he didn't get the guys he wanted or what, but this is not an Evero defense. And I've kind of said that on and off. I don't know, maybe he expected more from Clowney, maybe he expected more from Wanham. I'm not sure what went wrong for what his scheme was. But I do think he'll have success somewhere else, just unfortunately not in Carolina. Drew said, what do we do now? Do we trade back? Drew, we talked about this. It just depends what the Panthers want to do. Most likely they're going to go after an edge guy. And it's going to depend on where they kind of end up at, to be honest with you. Right? It's like, Abdul Carter, Mason are going to leave quick, but who else is going to leave that quick? Right? So if all those guys leave quick, then most likely they'll fall back. If they don't, then the Panthers are most likely going to try and get their edge guy for the future, to be honest with you. That's kind of my take. Let me know what you guys think too, but that's kind of, I feel like, what we're looking at now. New unis bring wins this time. Yep, I like the unis. Unis look good. Let's see what else we got. But yeah, draft mock drafts coming soon. We'll start rookie talk here in the next, a couple weeks or so. Let the season kind of finish out, talk about any kind of moves that happen, and then kind of where we end up at. So, let me know if you guys have anything else. That's probably going to wrap it up. Appreciate everybody who came onto the stream. As always, appreciate the support, the love, guys. It's been a long season. A long but short. I can't believe the season's already over, but it is that time. So that being said, I'll catch you guys later. Bryce Young video coming up tomorrow. 5 touchdowns, 3 passing, 2 rushings, man. Woo! Bryce Young finally showed out, man. I'll catch you guys later, man. Take it easy. Have a good night. Stay safe. Happy New Year. Take it easy, guys.